Welcome to the First Look Seminar. Gino Bacola, we were back at it last night. We had George O join in the fun for that Pick Six carryover today. The Pick Six was hit, but we have a lot of good racing this weekend, my friend.
Yeah, if you were watching last night, we led you to a few winners here and there, a couple short misses. But what's nice is we got a big Saturday ahead, a 9-race card, graded stakes action in the 5th with the Thunder Road, the D. Wayne Lucas in race number 6, the newly named D. Wayne Lucas after the Hall of Famer, the coach who passed away last year. We've got the 8th race, the Robert B. Lewis with Kentucky Derby points up for grabs, a really interesting field. And then we close things out in the 9th with a tricky race down the hill. Awesome stakes action, a really, really big day. And an added bonus, I'm going to join Mr. Quigley tomorrow for the pre-race handicapping show. So we'll go through the entire card. I'll come and annoy you all throughout the day, Chappie, sitting in your office there. So we'll have some fun, and hopefully we'll lead you to some winners.
And, of course, Dumpling Day this weekend as well. And, of course, on Sunday, we race at 11 a.m. We'll open up early, finish before the big game. We have drink specials down at Sorona's all day. So Seminar Skip, I know you'll be out here at least on Sunday, my friend.
Yes, I would be out there tomorrow also, but tomorrow's Janie's birthday, so I told her that we would spend the day together, no racetrack. So I'm going to sneak away to the bathroom a few times and be on my phone. You know that.
Get your bets in early.
Get my bets in early, yes. And looking forward to a great weekend. We got Super Bowl weekend, the Olympics, the opening ceremonies is tonight, and really looking forward to the Olympics, the skiing and the ice hockey, and looking forward to a lot of things. Great racing. The Kentucky Derby's right around the corner. You know, we're starting to get these prep races and those Derby points. So a lot of good things going on.
No doubt. And, you know, real quick, Skip and Gino, I think I heard this. This is way off topic, but for the Olympics, as we know, Lindsey Vonn, she tore her ACL, right? But she's still going to ski. And I believe her first
did her qualifier today, earlier, after a week after.
Oh,
yeah, because they're a little bit delayed sometime, but I think you can watch like almost everything on Peacock Live. But they were raving that she even was able to get out there like a week afterwards. It's a couple weeks after. It's unbelievable after, I think, rupturing.
Right. Yeah.
The ACL.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
She's a maniac.
I think, yeah, she is. I think she skis again Sunday night after the Super Bowl's over. So that's something to look forward to. But
while you've hit on the big game a few times, don't forget those pick'em contests this weekend. Sunday will be all about the big game. So pick'em.santanita.com, totally free to enter. You know you're going to be watching the game. Go enter the contest. Even if you've never done it before, it's absolutely free. It's going to be a lot of questions and props about the big game that you're watching, some of the races there. So check that out, pick'em.santanita.com. Go see if you can win $500 for free every Saturday, Sunday.
You know, Skipper, I love it. Gino gives a lot of good input, but he's always the information guy, right? He brings it every week.
He does. Gino always brings it. He knows horses. He knows what's going on at Santa Anita, what's going on with the Lakers, the Dodgers. He knows it all. I love it.
I love it. All right. Speaking of bringing it, let's bring some winners, gentlemen. So we are focusing, obviously, you know, I didn't put the banner up, did I? Let's put that in there. You know, you got to show everything.
There we go.
How about that? Now, late pick 5 preview show for tomorrow, February 7th. That would be starting in race 5. And Skipper, this is a mile on the turf, the grade 3 Thunder Road. So we're starting off with a stakes race here. What's your thought in the first leg?
You know, there's not a lot of speed in this race. El Patente should be on a loose, lonely lead. Kind of been off form since they brought it back from the break. It, you know, was off from February 1st when it was very sharp. They gave it time. They brought it back at the end of November. He ran really good first out in the Seabiscuit. He got beat a half length. Then he comes back in the Joe Hernandez down the hill and kind of sat off. Look at the times of that race: 20-4, 42-4, 104-4. Look at the final time: 110-4 for going 6.5 down the hill. That was a crazy, crazy race. They went so fast early, and it set everything up for the one. Gas Me Up. I think, you know, the last 2 works I've liked with El Potente, I think it's just going to be on the lead. I don't see anybody that could be close to What it loves Santa Anita. 5 of his 6 wins have been on the Santa Anita turf course. I'm not going to single just in case. Maybe it's, it is 7 years old, maybe getting a little long in the tooth, not as sharp as it was. So I'm not going to single, but I'm only going to go too deep in here. I'm going to use the speed horse with El Potente, and I'm going to use Lord Bullington also. This horse has 2 wins over the Santa Anita turf course. Michael McCarthy trains. I like the work a lot on the 18th of January. Throw out the last race. It was on the dirt. It was a while back. This horse looks good. It looks fit in the morning. If by chance they go quick or somebody goes quick with the El Potente or it blows up late, I think Lord Bullington is the best closer in the race. So I'm going to go 2 and 4. I'm going to take a shot against the 1. And hopefully I'm not kicking myself at the end. That race was really good coming down the hill, right? But it was a perfect setup. They went so fast. It did run really good in the Breeders' Cup, Breeders' Cup Mile against Notable Speech. But I'm not sold on that horse. And at 6-5, I'm going to try to beat this horse tomorrow.
Gino, so he's going 2-4 here. And the thing about El Potente, right, is obviously if he runs his race, could be tough. Sure looks like could get an easy lead. Does that, and Skip brought it up, that's what I was going to ask you, does that 7-year-old in front of that make you pause for cause just a little bit?
No, you know what? Not really. What I think is a positive for him is that, he missed most of his 6-year-old season. So he's now coming back, 3rd start after the long layoff. You can probably be a little forgiving for the first start off of the long layoff in the Seabiscuit. Even though he's favored that day, you're probably going to be a little short coming off the bench, right? Any horse, very good horses at any level, you could be way better than the field you're facing, and still you're going to get a little bit tired when you're in a race or when you're in a game. It's different than when you're training in the mornings. Then the second start back was on the cutback, and Skip was just pointing out, El Potente, he can kind of fall into a win, but he's way better when he's on the lead. Like, he doesn't want to sit off horses and come closing. No, not really, especially when they're going that fast. They were flying in that race, and he was sitting pretty close, and he moved early into that really quick pace, and then he just couldn't quite finish with Gas Me Up. I think the circumstances of this race are going to be totally different. I think it's going to be him loose on the front end, 3rd start off the bench, and I think he's going to absolutely be the horse to beat. If you have to take a stand, I think he's the one you take a stand with here. I actually don't mind the horse that Skip was getting to, because Lord Bullington might be able to kind of sit in between, like Gas Me Up and El Potente. If you look at some of Lord Bullington's races, like he wins on the lead on May 11th. Look at the last 3 races on the grass. He's winning on the lead. He's 3rd behind There Goes Harvard and Easter. Remember, There Goes Harvard at that point. He was capable of really big races. I think that was one of the last winners I had, Chappie, was There Goes Harvard that long ago. King of Gosford and Stay Hot prior to that. He's been in pretty good races. So that's not a bad one to use. And Skippy, to your point, look at the half-mile splits in the races that Gas Me Up has won. 42.8, 45.91, 45.64, 45.81. Those are the splits in the races that he wins. Maybe he wins this race, but how fast are they going to be going early compared to that? Because I think like 48, 47, right? Like if things go well, we're hoping 47 and change. Like, that's just going to be a totally different circumstance for Gas Me Up. So I may try to just take a stand right here. Small field, Gas Me Up, El Potente are both going to get a lot of support. If I can single El Potente, that gives me some really good shape moving forward. So I think I'm probably going to lean on El Potente here.
All right. So Gino going to single there. And, it's funny too, is about people, you take your stand wherever you take your stand. It's so funny how many people will not single the first leg of something because they don't want to be out, even though you got to single where your strongest opinion is. But that's just I don't know what people
in this
extra things, right?
You get a little scared, but for me, what's nice now too, with the advent of the late pick 3, the $3 pick 3, and the $5 double, I'm way less scared as a gambler because I'm like, you know what? I'm out. I'm going to come right back and play in these higher wager, pools that are still going to be able to get me out, right? Like, you used to get nervous after the pick 4 starts, like, I'm not going to be able to hit anything that big now, right? Like all my big wagers are gone, but you can still play that $3 late pick 3 and it pays well, or a $5 double, turn it into a $10 double. So I get a little less scared and I take a stand a little more now.
No doubt. All right, let's move on to race 6, Gino. And another graded stakes. As you said, the newly named Dwayne Lucas, which is a grade 2 here, going 7 panels, a field of 7. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, so this is for filly and mare sprinters, and you get the gal that's at the tip top of the division in here, Splendora. She just won the Breeders' Cup filly and mare sprint. She has won 3 in a row. What's really funny is in the Breeders' Cup filly and mare sprint, she was only 5-2. She'd never won a graded stakes race going into that race. But look at who she'd been behind in her career: Seismic Beauty, Ricci, Copian, Kinza. Those are the horses who beat her. All of them really, really nice fillies. So like, I don't have many knocks on her. I think this is a great starting spot for her year. I mean, she never looked like a loser in that Breeders' Cup race. She was just sitting a couple lengths off. When they asked her, she just tipped around and just totally swooped the field. So I respect her, but if you are trying to beat horses like this or use them and use a couple others, sometimes the beginning of the year is when you try to do it, right? This is the first start back. She's not necessarily 100% cranked for her absolute best races. I do think there are 1 or 2 others that are currently racing that might be able to compete with her in here. And the one I'll mention is Simply Joking, who we've hit on a few times. In the Raven Run, she was working so well going into that race. That was her first start for McCarthy. I think Skip gave her out on the radio show. I think I did too that day. She comes out of the gate, gets steady, and then she's in between horses wide, gets steadied again, and then she's just done. Put a line through the Raven Run back in October. Coming out of that, she's in the Bayakoa. She runs really well in the Bayakoa. She's just second behind Hope Road, who's very nice. Then on December 28th in the La Brea, she's sitting inside in a great spot. She's got the jump on Usha, who ends up winning that race, but she's looking for a spot inside, and there's nothing there. Usha goes right around her to the 2 path, and then Usha goes right to the lead and opens up. And Simply Joking's like waiting 2 lengths. I come into Chappie's office afterwards. I'm screaming after, like, "Are you kidding me? This horse is stuck inside." Oh, and I don't know if she was going to win or not, but she probably finishes second, and she's much closer. And then you look back at that race and it's different. She probably gets a better buyer speed figure, right? She's probably into the 90s versus an 88. Like, a lot of little things happen to make you feel better about her going into this race. I think she fits really well. It's a smaller field, so maybe she doesn't get into the kind of trouble like she did in that last start. So Simply Joking is interesting to me. I very much respect Splendora. Formula Rosa is super logical. What's nice is that if I single early, I can afford to use a couple extra horses now along the way if El Patente is my single and gets the job done there.
Yep, no doubt. And like Gino said, Skipper, I mean, Splendora is going to be odds on, obviously. And if you do like Simply Joking, those trips are a little bit subtle, and you're going to get every bit of that 6-1 in this field as Zenyatta takes her jump off the bed. Hello, Zenyatta.
Yeah, she woke up. She loves the horse racing, and when Daddy gets on the computer and does his show, she gets excited. She likes when I'm in here with her. You're right, and Gino is absolutely right about Simply Joking. Gosh, the only thing I'm worried about is the rail draw again. That it just. I wish
you're rolling the dice, right? What Todd Schrupp say? You're rolling the dice along the pine. You just gotta. Does it open? Does it not?
Right. Yep. So I don't know. I watched the workouts of Splendora. I love what I see. I didn't put good. I didn't put, really good. I put great. The last one on the 31st was great. I mean, her stride was just reaching. She looks like she's ready to go. The light bulb obviously went off these last 3 races. I mean, she's looked so dominant. And you know what? I was dumb enough. I didn't even use her in the Breeders' Cup sprint, filly and mare sprint. I didn't use her. I got stuck on Hope Road, and then there was another horse, and I didn't use her, and she got a lot of action that day. I think she was 6-1. She ended up going off at like 5-2 or something. She got a lot of money, and she ran like it. Like Gino said, she never looked like a loser. So I just think she's too good. I think she outclasses them. If Simply Joking was drawn outside, I probably would use Simply Joking too. But since Simply Joking drew the well, I'm going to single Splendora here and just see what happens. Formula Rossa, I thought out of the two, Simply Joking ran better last time.
Yeah,
I didn't like the work really with Formula Rossa. So I'm just going to take a shot. I'm going to single here. I'm going to single Splendora. I just think she's the best, mayor in the race.
All right. Well, couple of different singles in leg 1 and leg 2. Skip, we go right back to you for race 7. This is another mile on the turf race. Statebreds here take front action. What's your thought here in race 7?
I'm going to go 4 deep in here. And, I hate going A, B, C, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the 1 :J. It ran a mile last time. That was the first time it's gone the distance. Kind of went quick early from the rail. I like the fact I usually wouldn't use this horse back because I'm just thinking this horse doesn't want to run this far. But since they take the blinkers off, maybe this horse will set a little more. I don't think this horse needs to be on the lead. So if other horses want to go with the blinkers off, maybe you could just get that perfect trip tucked in right behind him. Baltus wins 23% with the blinkers off, and blinkers off is always a move that I really like. I like that move, and I love it when Baffert takes the blinkers off rather than puts them on. I've mentioned that before on the show. So I'm going to use the 1. I'm going to use the 4-2, Straight Up Country. This horse ran really good first time out. It off slow, angled in. It was way back and made a nice run. Then they bring it back at a mile back in January 15th, and it goes wire to wire. So this horse has got some versatility. It could be on the lead or close to the lead, or it could be farther back. I love that JJ Hernandez jumps aboard. 4 is going to be on my ticket. My long shot that I'm going to use is going to be the 5, Speed of Elon. First time out, this horse had a brutal trip. Then they kind of put it too close to the lead, and it just kind of was rank. Didn't like that race. They finally took hold last time, and it won. It was kind of a slower race, but if they go crazy up front, which it looks like there's a few speed horses, and if they do go fast, I think this horse will come, it's going to come running late, and at 15-1, I'm going to put it on my ticket. And then the last one is the Mark Glatt horse, Warm Sun and Brew. Can't even talk, but I like this horse stretching back out. It didn't run bad last time. Glatt's having a great meet, and so I'm going to use 1, 4, 5, and 7 in here.
So 1, 4, 5, and 7. Gino, the only thing I'll ask you before you get into who you like is some of the jockeys, and sometimes you don't know because they're playing switch around here, right?
Musical jockeys here.
Right. Jaramillo was on the 1 and the 4 and ends up on the 1. JJ is not on the 7, but maybe that was Fresu's original mount. JJ ends up on the 4 and takes off the 7. Maybe it was, you know what I mean? Like sometimes you look too much into that, but it's a little interesting here.
I completely agree. And what I thought is sort of tricky about this race is that there's a version of this race where the 1, 2, 4, and 7 are all showing speed. And that's what scares me a little bit, is that all of those top choices, as Skip was kind of hitting on it, like there could be a version of this race where they're all pushing each other. And then who do you want of the closers? I want to make sure I have like 1 or 2 of those horses. And I started doing process of elimination. Skip used Speed of Elon. I kind of wore it down to the 3 and the 8, and I was trying to pick between the 2 of them. If you really dive into the 8, Freeport Joe. So the last 2 races, he's faced Vodka, who's going to run in the big cap right now. That horse is doing that well and generally wins on the lead. Before that, Anon, who was a horse who did not show, where there was not much early speed in that race at all. The races before that, Kings River Knight, one of the better Calbreds who only won on the lead. Nitty came out of that race to win the Grade 3 San Juan Capistrano. I know we're going back. This horse is 0 for his last 17, but look at all those races we're diving into. And this race could very easily be way different from a race shape standpoint. Those races with Kings River Knight, they're never going fast early. because everybody sort of defers to that horse and would let him go. This race, they may all be pushing each other. I'm going to throw the 8 on my ticket for sure. I think the 7, maybe the most likely of the speed horses to sit, drawn towards the outside. I did like what the 2 did, Sir Percival. I actually thought he ran pretty well. So I'm going to have 8, 2, 7 for sure. I probably throw in the 4 straight up country because I can't afford there. And I agree with Skip. I thought that race was pretty impressive, but the 8 was the horse I thought was a little bit sneaky here. But I think you can make some excuses for those recent races and they may get a good setup and some pace to run at.
I like it. So some different angles, different thoughts of that. And Skipper, as we talked about all the birthdays coming this week and we're all getting old and Gino's going after these horses up there in age. The 8's a 9-year-old. So we got, which we love those old, we got a 7-year-old, a 9-year-old, those old warrior horses that just keep running, love to run, love to do what they do, and they're still running well too. I mean, it's amazing to watch sometimes, isn't it?
No, it is. And just like we mentioned, I believe it was last week, the Pegasus World Cup with White Abario and Skippy Longstocking. I love when they keep these older horses going because, like you said, Chappie, they love what they're doing. It's not like, they just keep them. These horses are doing what they want to do. They want to run. They love it. And
some of them, like those particular horses you're hitting on, right? They'll have gaps where they were earlier on in their career. They missed a year, they missed 8 months, or there were 2 different times. So they weren't running all the way through where now they still feel a little fresh sometimes. I think we had a trifecta of all horses 7 years old and above in the Pegasus World Cup. That was awesome.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Amazing. All right, we move on to
race 8. That's why I'm
8.
still friends with you, Chappie. I don't discriminate against the old folks.
Both of us. What are you talking about? Senior citizens. I did get some mail the other day, and I had an AARP card in there, so that was. I'm not joking. Like
use that discount, baby. Use that discount. Early bird special.
Yeah, Chappie. Social Security is right around the corner for us, buddy. Yeah.
I was just looking up some payments on that the other day, just out of curiosity. That's when you're in trouble. And both of those stories are true, the AARP and the looking up. All right, why did I get into this? All right, let's go. Gino, Derby Trail, it is upon us. Race 8, the Bob Lewis here. And grade 3, field of 7, very interesting race here, Gino. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, what was really cool on Friday today, there were 2 Kentucky Derby prep races. We had the Southwest and we had the Withers. Then there's 2 more tomorrow. So just between these 2 days, you get 4 Kentucky Derby points races. So things take a little bit of shape. There'll be one tomorrow, the Sam F. Davis at Tampa. And then in this particular race, I mean, I thought not a big field, but 4 or 5 of these horses wouldn't shock me. Honestly, there are some pretty talented horses in here. I thought I was able to take a lot from what these horses were doing in the morning based on their workouts. I really spent a lot of time looking at First.TV in this particular race because there are a lot of workouts there. And one horse who it really interesting, just if you're watching the works, you can see the last 3 for Desert Gate. Now, Desert Gate was supposed to run in the Breeders' Cup. He probably would have been like the 3rd choice in that race. He would have been a top contender, but he didn't end up making the race. He had some issues. He has been working steadily since the middle of December, has not missed a work then. So we're talking about like December 15th. Now we're on a really steady string of works for him. January 17th, he worked inside of Getaway Car. He was on the inside, showed speed. Getaway Car kind of comes up, never lets him by, stays on the inside. Next work, January 21st, he's in the inside of Butane, who ran in the Southwest. Same exact thing. Goes to the lead. Butane kind of looms up. Desert Gate never lets him by. Next work, he's working on January 31st inside of Litmus Test, another Baffert horse. Was supposed to run in the Southwest today. Didn't. They're going to give him a little more time. Same exact thing. Inside, gets to the lead. Workmate looms up, challenges, and Desert Gate never lets him go by. And it's funny because now he draws the rail. And you look at this race and you go, man, he's got to try to do the same exact thing that he's been doing in those workouts where he's just going to be inside of everybody and he's just got to go. So I do think this race sets up really well for him based on how he's been training in the morning and what's been going on. It's almost perfect for him. But I do.
And Gino, real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt. So, and I believe we always talk about times don't matter, don't whatever. I believe in the work with butane, they give butane a quicker time, and there's no question Desert Gate was better in that work. So you have to watch them if you can, right?
It was, I'm glad you mentioned that too, because in all of them, they were putting him on the lead, and it just looked like they were training him to do this, to go to the front end, to learn how to get to the lead, slow things down, and then get a challenge and kick on. In all of the races, it was like they were mapping things out for Desert Gate for this race. So while I will use, I think, 2 others, I very much respect him in this spot. I think the spot is great for him. Even little things like a mile versus going a mile and a 16th and a mile and an 1/8 right now. It doesn't have to go quite as far. I think it'll go very, very well for him. The outside runner, Secured Freedom. This horse ran really well in both starts. In that career debut, he lost to a horse named So Happy. And in that race, Secured Freedom had a slow start. He was about 3 lengths off or so. He was in between horses. He was wide. He made some big move all the way up. And then he just backs up to 5 lengths off, but he comes on again. He was like green. You could see he was still running even after he backed up. He wanted to come on again. And to me, that always signals distance. When I see that for horses, I'm like, they probably want to go a little bit longer. He comes back December the 28th. He was really impressive that day. He ends up making this big 3-wide sustained move, and he took a few strides to get straightened out, and then boom, straightened out, and he really kicked on nicely. And then he comes back and he's working in the morning, January 24th and January 31st with a horse named Cowboy Mike. They're putting him behind Cowboy Mike, and they're having him run Cowboy Mike down as the target. I liked both of those works. In the January 31st one, he put Mike away and drew off really, really nicely. I love the stretch out for him. I think the way the race shapes up, Desert Gate goes. Maybe you get Robusta and Cherokee Nation in there, but I'd love to see Secured Freedom sitting right behind them. Maybe 3rd or 4th could get a perfect trip. And then the 3rd one for me is Plutarch. I'm probably going to go 7-1-2. I love Plutarch's races going long on the dirt. This horse has ability for sure. And you can watch, he's a little quirky. Sometimes he'll move a little earlier. He'll kind of have a slow start. But his 2 best races in his career are long on the dirt. And they've been working him really well with the horse named Winston Avenue. And I love what he's been doing in the mornings too. You can watch all those on First Thought TV. That helped me so much with this particular race. 1, 2, and 7. I'm going to try to get out of here with those 3.
1, 2, 7 there, Skipper. And I know we've all watched the works on that. I will say one thing about Secured Freedom. I think I agree with you, Gino. Green, maybe still a little green in the works, but I also think big horse, big giant strides. I mean, I think that horse wants every bit of 2 turns. So whether he's ready tomorrow or not, I think 2 turns hits that horse right between the eyes. And I agree with you. There's some talent there. But Skipper, your thoughts?
I agree. Secured Freedom's got that big stride. I'm glad you guys both mentioned it. Sorry. So I think the 2 turns will be great for him. I like what Gino says. The 1, the 2, I was going to use the 7. The only other one I'm going to use, and I've seen it work better, and I think maybe this is just a prep, but I'm a big fan of this horse, is the 4, Intrepido. Yep. I got to use it. I can't let it beat me. But the works on the other horses I thought were better. So maybe this horse just isn't a good workout horse in the morning. I don't know, but I'm going 1, 2, 4, 7.
So it's funny too, like, and I maybe I'll end up throwing him in a spot, and I probably shouldn't do this. I liked him. I played him in the Breeders' Cup. He was like the horse that I liked in that race, and he had just a bad start, and then he was just like nothing. And maybe I could just put a line right through it and not like take that much out of it, because I agree with you. I mean, he beat both the 1 and the 2 going long on the dirt at Santa Anita. He beat them both, and for some reason, if he floats up and he's way higher, don't let him get away from you, because he's not far behind them. I just kind of agreed with Skip. I like the prep for the other horses more coming into this particular race than Intrepido, but he's certainly not so far behind them that he should be a way bigger price.
Yep, no doubt. And trained by Jeff Mullins. As we said, there are a handful of trainers who have been on red hot since this meet had started. And he is certainly one of them. So, all right, let's move on to the ninth and final. And Gino, right back to you. The Sweet Life. We've got a field of 12 coming down the hill. What a way to end the day, Gino. Hopefully we're all alive in this pick 5. What are your thoughts here?
And how cool. Not one of these horses has ever been down the hill in this field. Right. None of them. So that we're guessing with all these horses. We're hoping, we're assuming the cutback is going to help, stretch out is going to help, but we don't know, which is really great. I want to start with the 3, Yours Sincerely. She's really interesting to me because I've been watching her from her first start in the U.S. I remember that day. It was so impressive, that August 16th race at Del Mar. She was at the back of the pack and at the top of the lane. She was still like dead last on the inside, and she just stayed inside and absolutely inhaled the field. So I've just kind of been following along with her every race since and watching her. And what I really like is in her last 2 races in particular, she's starting to show more positional speed. You can put her in the race way more than you used to be able to. She had no speed in her first couple starts in the U.S. Now, look at what she's been able to do, in particular the last race, because that was cutting back to 6 furlongs. You generally don't see that when the horses are going longer, they cut back to the sprint. She showed more speed on the cutback, and which I just love. I think she's just growing up. She's getting a little more mature now. She's a 3-year-old, early in her 3-year-old season. If she can sit that same kind of trip she's been sitting in her last 2 races, I think she's going to be in a really good spot here because we know she could finish. We know she could get a mile. 6.5 should be fine for her. But now she just doesn't have to come from way, way out of it. So I really like her in this spot. You know, a horse who I've never liked that much on the dirt is Hamika, really at all. But if you look at this race, she's certainly the class of the field based on who she's faced, right? Explora, Rivera, Bottle of Rouge. She's been in graded stakes races and facing grade 1 company. Nobody else in here has really been facing company like that. These are all horses that are, you know, kind of a cut below on the grass. So her wins at 5 and at 6 furlongs, maybe we can look at Hamika and go, okay, the 7 furlong races are probably a little too far. The mile in a 16th race is a little too far. Then all of a sudden, she looks a lot better on paper. You're like, oh, okay, maybe she just didn't want to go that far. So I do like her, and I could see her just sitting a great trip, really close all the way through. The fun price horse I want to include is the 7, Stuck By Her. You know, this horse's debut in the U.S. on January the 11th was very good. And I think she might be a fair price because she didn't get a big figure for that race. The buyer came back very light. It was only a 56, but visually super impressive. She was last of 9. She was inside, only about 4 or 5 lengths off at the most. She moves up 2 lengths off. She's traveling well. And then she's got to angle all the way around 5 wide. And as soon as she got a little bit of ground in front of her, she was really gobbling things up. I thought it was a very impressive effort from Stuck By Her. So the 3 horses I'd love to get alive to would be the 3, 6, and 7. See if I can get myself set up where I'm alive to those 3.
3, 6, 7 in a very tough race. And like you said, Yours Sincerely, you know, last 3 races added the blinkers. Maybe that showed a little bit more tactical speed. And the Baffert thing too, the last year or so, Baffert's been running some more on turf where we used to always just say, you know, he's had a couple good turf horses here and there. Have you noticed that lately? Not a ton, but definitely more.
And I wonder if both as well. I wonder if with both the 6 and the 10 in here, Amika and Mo Haven, who are both trying the turf for the first time, I wonder if it's as much a distance thing as it is a surface thing, right? We see this with the 5 furlong turf races sometimes where you've got those horses who you know are fast, but maybe can't go that far. I wonder if Baffert's going, man, 6.5 down the hill for this horse might be perfect, even if she doesn't love the grass all that much. But she is a daughter of Curlin, who was second in his only grade 1 race on the turf. I mean, he was bred to do it all. Right. So yeah, it's a good point because Baffert's been doing it more and he's got to separate his horses. I almost wonder if this time is for a distance thing, even as much as it is for the turf.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. Skipper, 367 here for Gino in a very tough race. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a fun race, and what a race to end the card. The Sweet Life coming down the hill. I'm going to use a few in here, more than a few. I'm going to mention the one Hypergamy. This horse, I think, will like coming down the hill. I don't like the rail draw coming down the hill. I always prefer the outside horses. But I think this horse cutting back from a mile to the 6.5, I love seeing that. The one's going to be on my ticket at 10-1. The two will not be 8-1, but the two's definitely going to be on my ticket. La Ville La Mer for Michael McCarthy. This horse is 2 for 2 over Santa Anita, cutting back a distance, that mile to the 6.5, which I love. This horse had trouble last time and still got up and won by Pratt. And Wild Like the West came back and ran a good second today. Two's going to be on my ticket. Gino mentioned the 3. I'm going to put the 5, light one up. Doug O'Neill trains this for Purple Rain Racing and Davis. This horse won really nicely, and they bet it like it was going to win before the race went off. Then they shipped it right over to Churchill Downs, went really quick early and just faded late.
She might be the quickest of the quick,
right?
Skippy, right? And her dam was a 3-time winner on the turf too. So
right.
Of all the horses I didn't mention, that's one that I was getting scared of, and I will probably try to find a way to include in something late, because if this horse has a length lead at the top of the lane, you may get nervous if you don't have the 5.
And Purple Rain Racing is the Bus family, so it's got the Laker connection. You're a big Laker guy, so Gino, come on, throw that one in. I mean,
shout out to Luke Kennard, newest Laker. Yeah,
there you go.
Okay, then I'm going to use a couple bombs. I'm going to put the 6 in just because it's Baffert Hernandez. They did this just a week or two ago. A speed horse. They took it way back to last, and this horse just flew crossing the dirt and just mowed him down. This is very similar to it. Obviously, the distance won't be a problem for that one. I got to put the 6 in there. I'm going to put the 9, Bourbon and Ginger, in. They paid a lot of money for this. This is a very well-bred horse. Here's this blinkers off move again. I think this horse will like coming down the hill. Let's go over the races. First out wins at Del Mar. They put it right in the grade 1 debutante. You know, obviously Mandela, he's not a guy that's going to, off a maiden win, stretched out and put it into a grade 1 race unless he thought very highly of it. It didn't run a step that day. They put it back on the grass. Did not run that bad. Only got beat 4 lengths. I know it was a slow race. Then back on the dirt, then on the turf, and the Jimmy Durante. They went really fast. This horse was in front, but they went 22 and change, tried to slow it down, but that first quarter just took it out of this horse. I love the blinkers coming off. Last time it hopped, it swung out late. I'm going to put the 9 at 20-1.
Doesn't she look like, I know it's a she, but I said, doesn't she look like she needs to be gelded?
Yeah.
Like on paper, doesn't she look like a horse who is like, let's geld this horse. I think they'll be a little bit better, but can't do that.
Bourbon and Ginger. I'm not sure what it is, but no.
She just looks like one of those horses who you're like, man, if they got the equipment change, they'd probably figure things out, right?
Right. The ultimate equipment change, do you know?
Yeah.
And then the other one, I'm going to use the other Baffert, the 12. This horse, I like the better of the 2. This horse, they put on the grass first time at Del Mar. They took it way back, and this horse blew past everybody and won. The horse it beat came back to break its maiden and win again today, by the way. A real nice horse of Richard Mandela's. And then they put in the stakes race. I think this horse, it showed speed. This horse wants to be taken a hold of. With that outside draw, I think they could take hold. I love that cozy outside spot post. And at 20-1, this horse has got to be on my ticket. I think it's going to love coming down the hill also. So I'm going deep. I'm going 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, and 12.
It's funny
Might as well hit the all button.
Total Val, she was training really well early on in her career as a 2-year-old. And I think that's why they just kept putting her on the dirt, because she's definitely a horse who you knew was going to be good on the grass as soon as they got there. But I think they just thought she was really good because she was training so well, and they kept trying. And then finally, boom, as soon as they put her on the turf going long, she wins at 16-1. And I think Skip's right. Like that last race was sort of weird. She was inside. She just broke well. They went on with it. Because what are you going to do? You don't want to grab that much of a hold in a small field. Yep. I feel like her trip's going to be way different in this race from out wide. They're going to grab that hold and let her come running late.
No doubt. Yep. All right, Gino, big weekend ahead. Tell us a little bit about it before we wrap things up.
Yeah, Santa Anita has the big stakes this weekend. We have a Kentucky Derby prep race with points up for grabs in the Robert B. Lewis. Make sure to check that out. The newly named D. Wayne Lucas is going to go as race number 6, and there's actually a giveaway. There's a D. Wayne Lucas print giveaway if you're on track, so you can get like a headshot of the coach with a couple pictures of him and some of the horses through the years. Make sure to check out that. Anything on track. I believe tomorrow is the Circus Vargas also over the next couple weeks. Coast to Coast Pick 5, Sunset 6, Pick'em contest, pick'em.santanita.com. And then anything you need when you sit down, when you do your handicapping, head on over to shop.drf.com where you get your past performances before you start playing the races. So I'm looking forward to it. I spent a little extra time because I know I'll be out there tomorrow, and hopefully we can lead you all to a few winners.
And then, of course, the following weekend, we have 4 days of racing, obviously. And we have Mardi Gras weekend, as well as the Corgis are back next Sunday, next weekend. So that's going to be a huge weekend. So join us this weekend. Obviously, tomorrow, big day. And then 11 o'clock post on Sunday with the Super Bowl, the big game. And we'll be back at it again next week. So thank you, gentlemen. We'll see you again soon. See you next Friday. Thanks, guys.